Saturday, August 10th, and we are back up here to do some more work on the doors. Today's going to be looking at the rear striker plates that are back there on the inside. Show that as we get going, and we need to put some foam tape around on the inside of the door for insulation. So we'll get going on that, see what we get done and what else we can do. Do you keep this? So this striker plate that I've got here, when you put it in place here, it kind of sticks way up over this edge. So I'm just going to use some sheet metal pliers, and just put a little bit of a bend on that edge right there so it doesn't stick up quite so much. It just makes it a little more flush against that skin. Done with the striker plates for the aft striker plates for the door latch, and something that we did or did not do. Let's see, first of all, I talked about, it's kind of hard to see, talked about how this edge was really, it wasn't bent all the way around, so I just had to do a bend just right on, probably about that much of it. And this one got a little bit wonky on there. I used those sheet metal, those maybe duck bills, I don't know what they're called, but anyway, those sheet metal pliers, I used those to bend that one over there. It worked really well. For some reason I just couldn't get it to work right with this one. I ended up using Nip-X pliers to do the bends on there, and those they work really well, but they do tend to, they mar it just a little bit, and the bend isn't perfectly straight all the way down. You can see it's a little bit bumpy, but I got it as straight as I can. Something else we did not do is they have you do VHB underneath there to tack it onto this part of the tube or the skin. Didn't do that either. The reason being is, by the book, these panels are riveted in. That side panel gets riveted in. We didn't want to rivet those in. We want to be able to have access down into that side area down there by the header tank, in case we need to adjust any of the adjust the turnbuckle, or just to have access down there if we ever need to. So we did not rivet those. In an earlier video, we tapped the rivet tabs in there. We tapped them and then used screws in there. So that way, without the adhesive on here, we can still take this take that side panel off if we want to. So we'll see how it works out. I mean, worst case scenario is in the future, if it is a problem, we can always unscrew the panel and lift it up and put the VHB adhesive underneath that and put it back down on there. So I got that part done for the most part. We decided to not these doors, I just used a temporary nut on that swivel right there, because once we get this all done and get the door final fit, we don't know how much, how many washers we're going to need in there to tighten all that down. So we decided just to leave that as it is for now. But today, the rest of the day today is windshield. We're going to get started on windshield. We're gathering the parts together. and gonna take a look at it right now. So we've got these tabs. I can't remember what they call them, but these tabs are drilled out. We just did this on a number 40, so we did a center line, left, right, center line, and then down a 1/4 inch. And we're supposed to countersink this because the windshield sits on top of it. So we're going to do this like we did with these wings up here. And that is, we're going to do, well, we did a number 40, and I'm going to use a pilot with a countersink with a number 40 pilot to do that countersink, and then we'll ream that out to a 30 for the rivet. One thing we do before we do any major drilling on parts like this that would be a little bit difficult to fix is we call it sanity check. Went through, reread the instructions on the windshield install, and we're not going to countersink this yet. Normally they'll have you do a 30 hole and then you cleco stuff in on that 30. But since we got 40 clecos, I'm just going to leave this as a 40 for now, and we'll cleco the ribs in using a 40 cleco. Doing our first fit up on this windshield rib, and it was interesting because we've got 2 of the ribs are the same shape, and then there's another one that's got a little slightly different shape, and that's this one. I thought we thought, well, maybe that's for the center one, but that doesn't appear to be the case. It actually needs to be bent quite a bit. Even all the way down here, it's already touching that front rib. So we'll push this down a little bit. We'll bend that down and refit it and see what we get. It's pretty close to the center one. The back one has a bit of a gap in it, so we'll have to adjust that. But yeah, we'll start by doing this one here. Oh, the back tabs for that were the rib attaches onto the side of that tab, and it looks like they're just a tiny bit tall for the skylight. So yeah, so we'll have to, when we mount the rib on that tab back there, we'll have to drop it just a little tiny bit, and then I think trim off just the very tippy top, like 0.1, I think it was a 1/10 that we kind of figured out maybe, but anyways. This outside rib, when we started the initial fit just now, it's pretty low across the middle, so we'll have to bend that up. But this very end trailing edge, this piece is cut long, so I need to trim a little bit of it off. So I'm going to take 1 inch off of this, because the back end of this rests on the fuselage tube, and I think it's going to make it a little more difficult, or it might be kind of a hassle when we start getting it bent into shape and lined up, because I think that back end's going to try to push down on the fuselage tube. So I'm just going to lop off about 1 inch of that. We'll fit it back up and take a look at it. And this is what I'm talking about, where I trimmed this piece off here. It was sticking here, and it hits this tube, and we need to bring this rib up here and in the middle and the front too, so the whole thing needs to bend up, and that's going to increase this angle downward and would make it a little tough to get this all adjusted right. So that's the reason for that. Well, I don't have a handy pancake air compressor like Derek has, but so I'm going to use our big air compressor. I got to reach over the top so I can bend this a little bit here. We need to put some pretty significant bend in that piece there, but I'm just going to wrap it around there, and we'll bend it and see what we get.
More towards the back too. Yeah.
So one of the things you have to do on this is, and I didn't talk about this earlier, is you need a straight edge that goes from this side of the wing to that side of the wing, and that contours across. So we've got, we actually had an extra piece of stringer for Rand. They sent us one too many, so we had that long section of stringer. Ended up cutting it in a couple pieces. That was 43.5 inches from the skin to the skin there. So we went 1 inch more, so that's 45.5 inches on those. And then we had another piece of angle that we were able to just trim a little bit off and get that to fit. So that just follows the contour of the wing, and where that skylight, the windshield and the skylight are gonna go up and over. And that's what we use to do these ribs. We just bend these ribs so that they're just touching, just barely touching this. Like this one is, it's just a little tiny bit of gap, and I mean not even a gap. It's touching on the back side, but so that's touching there, just touching on the other two. So that's how we know when we kind of get this shape in the right spot. But yeah. Not too bad today. A little cloudy, and we got a little tiny bit of sprinkle rain, so that's not too bad. But yeah, pretty tolerable today. Okay, done for today, and we got 2 of the 3 ribs done. The other one's over on the table, and we'll tackle that one tomorrow. And I'll try to show a little more detail tomorrow on how we're kind of bending this. I showed you how I put that around that air compressor and bent it. It doesn't take much at all. Matter of fact, when I did the first bend on this one, we ended up way high on it, so had to just press it back a little tiny bit. But we've got it fit up, and like I said earlier, just did this with a 40 for right now, because we're going to end up we'll drill this, or we'll countersink this, and then we'll final it up to a 30. But yeah, we've got that one left to do yet. So yeah, we'll get it tomorrow. So like I said, we'll be back tomorrow, everybody. Thanks for watching the videos, and yeah, see you tomorrow, and that's it for now.